When we talk of democracy, we mean true representation, and the parliament is the place, and therefore the people must be informed. A program that brings to you expert clarifications and teachings of parliamentary concepts and procedures. Welcome to this program.
Thank you very much.
On Parliamentary Guide, we'll teach, we explain, we clarify parliamentary concepts and terms.
And value of run oversight over the executive.
Thank you for joining us on another edition of the program, the Parliamentary Guide. I am Ignatius. Well, recently the Senate passed a bill seeking to establish the Chartered Institute of Forensic and Auditors of Nigeria. And then for the interest of the public, today's edition of the program will center on some explanations on this institute and the bill seeking to establish it. Well, we'll be right back. When we come back, the program starts. Well, we have in this edition our guide, the pro tem president of the Chartered Institute of Forensic Auditors of Nigeria. She's Dr. Victoria Inabe. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, recently, the Senate passed a bill for third reading, and then when a bill is passed for third reading, it means it has been passed by that chamber of the legislature. A bill seeking to establish the Chartered Institute of Forensic and Auditors of Nigeria. And Investigative Auditors of Nigeria. Now, can you tell us what this institute is all about?
Yes. Before I tell us what the institute is all about, first and foremost, I would like to commend Nigerian Senate for passing the bill in their wisdom and the transparency exhibited in the process. It wasn't easy, but they saw the need and the bill was passed. This I must commend. Chartered Institute of Forensic and Investigative Auditors of Nigeria is an anti-fraud organization that provides skills to relevant professionals in Nigeria on how to make use of science and technological tools to prevent, detect, and investigate fraud, and also to put in place some sophisticated mechanisms to prevent future occurrence. For as we are aware, fraudsters have gone sophisticated. They now engage digital technologies in perpetrating fraud, which make it impossible for traditional audit to detect it. So the Chartered Institute of Forensic and Investigative Auditors have all it takes to equip these professionals who will be able to make use of the same digital technologies in detecting the fraud, no matter how small or big.
Okay. Then, what do you think this bill seeks to achieve for this institute?
For the institute or for Nigeria?
Yeah, vice versa.
Okay, number one, or before I proceed, I would like to say that the benefit of this institute to Nigeria is enormous. However, I would like to mention a few of them. It will save Nigeria government the cost of inviting foreign forensic auditors for fraud investigation, as it were. To some large extent, it takes only Nigerian forensic auditors who knows the terrain to be able to track or investigate fraud successfully in Nigeria. What has been on was that government invites these foreign forensic auditors to the country and still make use of our own people in Nigeria to do investigation. And at the end of it, dollars, hard currencies, what they will pay to them. But by the time this institute come to be finally, government will no longer spend such money. because at that time, government will now patronize Made in Nigeria to grow Nigeria. That is number one. Another major advantage that this body will bring to our anti-corruption is that it will help to train government agents and staff through certification on the use of science and technologies to be able to prevent fraud in their various organizations. Just as our vision is transparency in advance audit, we will give people advanced knowledge on how to use digital technologies in auditing of financial statements, and also to put in place some of these mechanisms that will make fraud impossible for fraudsters. By doing that, you know that we'll put sanity in our government offices. Another reason again is that having done what I have just said, if we are able to give skill to these professionals that will prevent fraud, there will be enough money in government treasury that can be used for infrastructural development that is far disappearing in our country. There will be enough money to employ our teeming youths who are roaming in the street, who are traveling to Libya, traveling to overseas where they are being killed like chickens. Sometimes when I see them, it's like I should start crying, because these are Nigerians, for God's sake. But because they are looking for greener pastures, which they cannot get in their own country, they are forced to travel outside there. And now they are killing them every day. It is pathetic. This institute, by the time we are fully approved in Nigeria, will be able to help Nigeria or to assist Nigeria government in preventing fraud. And when we prevent fraud, then money will be enough there to give work to all these youth that are roaming about. It will also help to strengthen the nation's institutional framework, thereby bringing us at par with other developed countries of the world, in line with global standard and competitiveness. This institute will also stimulate public confidence and enhance transparency and accountability in our economic system and our national lives generally. This institute will also answer the question often posed by foreign investors as to the safety and guarantee of their direct foreign investment, DFIS, in our country, which is the reason why many of them has withdrawn their investment from our country. And if you watch, when we were talking about economic research, you discover that some of these people contributed to it because they withdraw their foreign investment, they withdraw their investment from our country. And the reason is not far from what we are talking about as a result of fraud. Okay. It will also leverage on the skills already acquired by 1,000 training forensic experts in Nigeria and Africa at large to offer training and retraining of personnel in order to broaden and ensure active participation from various relevant organs of government.
I want to take a look at what that bill now seeks to do. This institute is already in existence, right? So we want to know what is the purpose of this bill to the practitioners.
Right now, traditional audit is no more adequate.
Okay.
Everything has now gone forensic.
Okay.
If practitioners in Nigeria must continue to be relevant in their field, there must be a forensic auditor. Because, like I told us before, fraudsters no longer use paper and biro to commit fraud, but they engage digital technologies in perpetrating fraud. So the practitioners in Nigeria who must go and audit financial statements, who must be able to see the fraud that has been committed by these fraudsters that are making use of 21st century to commit fraud, must have the knowledge of forensic audit. Otherwise, the more they look, the less they see. So forensic auditor is auditing is very, very important to practitioners in Nigeria if they must continue to be relevant in their field.
Okay, but why did you people seek for legal backing? Without the bill, without passing it into law, can't you people continue with your profession and achieve the desired effect?
No, we need a legal backing so that we can operate without being challenged, so that we can operate without border, so that these people can, their certificate or whatever they are doing can be relevant. If you don't have a legal backing in whatever you do in the country, there is nobody that will recognize what you do. Nobody will patronize you. And because of that, we need a legal backing so that we can coordinate our examination that lead to the certification. And after they have gotten this certificate, they will be able to make use of this certificate in the country. That is the reason why we need legal backing.
Okay.
Otherwise, we have been operating, but we need to consolidate it with the legal backing.
Okay. But before this bill was passed by the Senate, in one way or the other, were you people being disturbed in carrying out your activities? Or have people been challenged in one way or the other?
No, we have not been challenged directly.
Okay.
But we're challenging directly in the sense that there was a lot of mischievous and malicious publications here and there, attacking the personality of the pro tem president. But one thing the people fail to know is that the bill itself is a separate entity from my person. But they were doing all the malicious publications against my own person. That was what we observed. And it was anonymous publications, which could not actually be regarded.
Traced to any person.
Yes, cannot be traced to any person.
At what point in time did people decide to come? This is the right time for us to have a bill. This bill, did it originate from your area or from the legislature?
Actually, we were doing our work, carrying our training here and there in Nigeria to equipped professionals on this. And at a point, we now saw the need to tell the legislature what we stand for. And after explaining to them, then I say, no, this thing is the need of the hour, that they are going to sponsor this bill to ensure that Nigeria is positioned like other countries of the world. And from there, they pick it up.
Okay.
And they sponsored the bill. The bill was sponsored by Senator Ahmed Lawan, the Senate leader, with Senator Andy Uba. And these two people are served in the Committee of Public Account of the Senate. Senator Ahmed Lawan served in that committee for 8 years. Senator Andy Uba served in that committee for some years as well, but not up to the first person. And two of them, in the process of service in that committee, saw the need of things like this. That was the reason when they saw us doing the publication, in doing our trainings, they now summon us. Come, what do you stand for? What are you doing? And we say, look, this is what we stand for. This is what we are trying to do. We are standing for anti-fraud in organization. We are out to make sure that we prevent fraud in the country, because prevention is better than cure. If you watch, we have so many high-profile cases of fraud in Nigeria that until now has not been able to be prosecuted, simply because of lack of evidence. But with forensic, evidence will become easy, because there will be evidence and then expert witness that can be presented in the court of law, and that will ease the process of prosecution. But in this case, we are saying that by the time we are fully on board, we will be able to put in place mechanisms that will prevent fraud. When we prevent fraud now, you won't see even fraud to investigate anymore.
Okay.
So that is the reason these people now say, okay, this is better than to be pursuing people after the fraud has taken place. That is better we become proactive than being reactive to fraud cases.
All right. Now, President, you spoke on it has to be in line with global practice. We'll come back to that, but we'll take a short break.
Okay.
When intellectuals teach, they do that through parliamentary guide.
Executive communication, that is communication coming from the executive requiring action by the legislature.
Interparliamentary Union is a world body. It brings in all the parliaments all over the world.
It's commendable for NTA to initiate this program.
Welcome back to the program, The Parliamentary Guide. Well, today we are discussing the bill recently passed by the Senate on the establishment of the Chartered Institute of Forensic and Investigative Auditors of Nigeria. And our guide in this edition has been the pro tem president of that institute, Dr. Victoria Inabe. Now, you talked about in line with global practice. Now, can you tell us what is obtained, what this bill seeks to correct in Nigeria that is obtainable abroad when it has to do with forensic practice?
Yes, actually, this bill or this institute exists in some parts of the world. There are jurisdictions such as Canada, where the institute emanated from, because our headquarters is Canada. The name of this body there is Association of Forensic and Investigative Auditors, Canada. And this particular professional body came from Canada to Nigeria. Apart from Canada, there are another places like Belgium, UK, USA, Germany, Australia, etc. that have professional bodies like this that exist over there, separate from professional accounting bodies. They are operating similar institutions over there in order to create global focus on training for the present and future generation on how to combat the menace of fraud and corruption, which has assumed a high level of technological dimension that is destructive to any economy,
Okay.
including that of Nigeria.
Of their country, of their legislature.
Yes, some of them have. These countries have fared well over all these years in the fight against fraud with the development of high-tech forensic technology in the prevention, detection, and investigation of fraud. And their government is happy about it. If you watch, fraud is minimal over there compared to our country. Today, fraud has come to build his edifice in the middle of Nigeria. And that is why most of us are crying today. But we are saying that if our children must not suffer tomorrow, we need to practice same that these people are doing, which has helped them in their countries. Yes.
All right. Then we are particularly interested to ask if this is, most times in the parliament, issues of establishment of institutes, most times is looked at as duplication of institutions and institutes that hitherto has been in existence. Some people are seeing this institute as a duplication of some existing institutes. Now, what would be your clarification to that aspect?
Well, this institute is not in any way a duplication of institute, because what we have on ground is professional accounting bodies in Nigeria. And professional accounting bodies in Nigeria are to prepare financial accountants. They are called financial accountants. They prepare financial statements. And auditors, there is a need for us to have auditors in Nigeria who will serve as a check. That is the reason for the Office of the Auditor General of for the Federation and the Office of Accountant General of the Federation. Office of the Accountant General of the Federation is to prepare financial statements, while Auditor General for the Federation serve as a check to the financial statement prepared by the Accountant General of the Federation. Now, this institute is like an institute that have come to stand on its own, to be a check to other professional bodies like that have accounting professional bodies. For instance, we have legislation, we have judiciary, we have executive. You cannot say that executive is a duplication of judiciary because all of them have their separate work that they are doing. But however, they complement one another. Now, forensic and investigative audit has come to fill a vacuum in Nigeria. We are standing to be a check institute to the financial statement prepared by financial accountants. Apart from our main duty of being anti-fraud organization, who is there to prevent fraud? And how we prevent fraud is like this. By just knowledge, having knowledge that there is forensic auditor in the country or there is a forensic auditor in an organization, fraudsters become very careful because they know that if they commit fraud, that no matter how small or big it is, forensic auditor will detect it. So there is nothing like duplication of duty of any other professional body in Nigeria. If you watch, Office of the Auditor General for the Federation and Accountant General of the Federation are mounted by accountants. But the fact that they are mounted by accountants has never made anybody to think that is a duplication of duty. I would like to disabuse the minds of everyone regarding alleged conflict between the functions of this proposed institute and other institutes established by existing legislations. Chartered Institute of Forensic and Investigative Auditors of Nigeria should not be seen as a threat or rival institute to any existing professional body or accounting professional body in Nigeria, because we are not out to attack any existing professional bodies in Nigeria. Rather, we have come to fill a vacuum and complement what they have been doing. This is exactly why we have come. So we shouldn't be seen as a rival at all, at all. Finally, as we speak, the two existing professional body or accounting professional body in Nigeria have their art, their enabling art, and it is clear there is no forensic and investigative audit in their enabling art. This is the first institute that is talking about forensic and investigative audit in Nigeria. So this should be cleared in the mind of Nigeria. On this note, there is nothing like duplication of duties in this institute.
Well, your viewers who are Nigerians are listening to you, and I think you've given them such succinct explanation. Now, we want to ask, were you there on the day of the public hearing on this bill?
Yes, I was
there. So how will you describe what happened on the public hearing that day, and will you tell us some of the participants that were there, and what was your own conclusion of what happened on the public hearing?
Yes, at the public hearing that was held on 14th of April 2018 at the National Assembly, I was there live. I made my presentations, and after my presentations, Chartered Institute of Forensic and Investigative Auditors of Nigeria had overwhelming support of the public. However, there were dissenting voices that came up, but could not overshadow the voice of the public because we had overwhelming support. The people in attendance are Auditor General of the Federation was there represented by one of his directors. I have a professor, Professor Aminu Mekailo, the former VC of Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto. He was also a former VC of Kaduna University. I think he has done VC up to 3 times. I now have another professor of accounting also that came, Professor Bayero Muhammad. He also came from that place. I also have another professor of accounting and forensic Audit and Accounting from University Uniben, who spoke on this issue. And another person that spoke among these people for us was the former Deputy Governor of Kogi State, Dr. Philip Salau. Office of the Accountant General of the Federation gave us his 100% support. And other eminent Nigerians that gathered there. We actually have a dissenting voices, like I said, from ICANN and their colleagues, which were just few people. It was an open something. Everybody that came there that day knew actually that Chartered Institute of Forensic and Investigative Auditors of Nigeria is the need of the hour. And that is how we won that battle from the public hearing. Yes, sir.
Okay, but then, from the analysis and from what the chairman of the public hearing was able to say then, did you foresaw what happened in the Senate? Did you believe that they were going to pass that bill?
Well, I actually believe that the Senate was going to pass the bill in an ideal situation. Because what happened there that day was a clear indication that nothing will stop the bill. However, along the line, we saw that there were people that came to ensure that the bill should not come up. And that was practically displayed in the floor of the Senate that day. But we thank God because I saw transparency in what the Senate did. Because the passage of the bill commensurated with what happened at the public hearing. On this note, I stand to say that the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria are credible.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes,
now, the next stage is presidential assent. Now, what do you expect if wishes will be horses for you? What would you wish that bill? Of course, I know you should expect the bill to be passed. But at what level of consideration would you want that bill to get to the presidency?
What level? Immediately. I want this bill to get to the president immediately because this is a need of the hour. We are going to help assist Nigeria government. And because of the importance of this particular bill, I don't see president saying no to it because president is a president of this country is actually looking for how to eradicate fraud and corruption from our lives, our dear lives. And this particular bill is saying that we have what it takes to block the loopholes of fraud. And once we end up, we can do that, then we preserve money for him to use and employ our teeming youth. He also used this money to build roads, build hospitals. You see, our people are running to outside the country for treatment every now and then, which ought not to be. By the time we are fully on board and we do this work, President himself will be very happy. And I know that once this bill comes to him, he will not say no because of the importance of this bill.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Pro Tem President, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
And I think Nigerians would have been fully educated on this bill that has been passed by the Senate. Well, this is where we'll round up this edition of the program, The Parliamentary Guide. Well, the Pro Tem President of the Chartered Institute of Investigative and Auditors of Nigeria, Dr. Victoria Nabe, has been able to explain the fact that this bill, well, is the nick of the time, and that is what Nigeria needs in the fight against corruption. And she's been able to explain that this institute will help in employing sophisticated technology in detecting and preventing crime, but that's thereby making the fight against corruption and fraud proactive. And she's explained, so to say, clear the air that there's no contradiction between this institute and any other existing institute, as the laws establishing those institutes are clearly state out, and there was no provision for forensic auditing in the act establishing those institutes. And it's at this point I will round off this edition and will say thank you for coming to this program.
Thank you very much.
Well, I am Ignatius Nko, and on behalf of the crew, I say bye for now.